Kicking off our list at number 1 is Still Wakes the Deep, a first-person horror experience set on a deteriorating oil rig in the North Sea during the 1970s. This game delivers an incredibly atmospheric and claustrophobic experience as you navigate through the collapsing industrial structure while something sinister hunts you through the narrow corridors and flooded compartments. The Scottish voice acting adds authentic regional flavor, while the environmental storytelling gradually reveals what went wrong on this isolated platform. What makes this game stand out is its commitment to pure survival horror without combat mechanics, forcing you to rely entirely on stealth and evasion, while the rig itself becomes increasingly unstable and dangerous around you. At number 2, we have Amnesia The Bunker, which reinvents the legendary horror franchise with a semi-open world approach set in a World War I bunker. You play as a French soldier trapped underground with a supernatural creature that actively hunts you through the dark tunnels and rooms. The game introduces resource management and emergent gameplay, where your decisions about using the generator, crafting items, and exploring different areas directly impact your survival chances. The dynamic AI ensures the monster never follows scripted patterns, creating genuine unpredictability that keeps every playthrough tense and fresh, with multiple approaches to solving environmental puzzles. Coming in at number 3 is Alan Wake 2, the long-awaited sequel that transforms the franchise into a full-fledged survival horror masterpiece. This game splits its narrative between Alan trapped in the dark place and FBI agent Saga Anderson investigating ritual murders in Bright Falls. The combat system revolves around light and darkness mechanics, where you must weaken shadow-possessed enemies with your flashlight before finishing them with firearms. Remedy Entertainment has crafted an incredibly ambitious story that blends psychological horror with supernatural elements, while delivering some of the most visually stunning environments ever seen in the genre. Number 4 brings us Resident Evil 4 Remake, which reimagines the beloved classic with modern graphics and refined gameplay while maintaining the core experience that made the original legendary. You play as Leon Kennedy rescuing the president's daughter from a rural European village infected by Las Plagas parasites. The over-the-shoulder combat feels incredibly satisfying with improved weapon handling, parrying mechanics, and strategic dismemberment systems. Capcom has expanded the original game with new areas, enhanced boss fights, and additional story content that enriches the narrative without losing the pacing that made the original so engaging and replayable. At number 5 sits the Outlast Trials, a cooperative horror experience that takes the franchise's brutal asylum setting and transforms it into a Cold War-era experiment facility. You can play solo or team up with others to complete objectives while avoiding or hiding from grotesque test subjects and sadistic overseers. The game maintains the signature Outlast mechanic of having no combat options, relying instead on stealth, environmental awareness, and your night vision camera to navigate the horrifying trials. The progression system allows you to unlock new rigs and abilities that provide different tactical advantages across the increasingly challenging experiments. Number 6 features Lethal Company, an indie horror game that became a phenomenon through its brilliant blend of cooperative gameplay and procedural terror. You and your crew explore abandoned industrial facilities on hostile moons to collect scrap and meet profit quotas while dealing with bizarre creatures and environmental hazards. The proximity voice chat creates hilarious and terrifying moments as you coordinate with teammates or hear their screams echoing through the dark corridors. What makes this game exceptional is how it balances genuine horror with emergent comedy through player interactions, creating memorable stories every session, while the difficulty scaling keeps pushing your team coordination skills. At number 7, we have Phasmophobia, a cooperative ghost hunting game that continues to evolve with regular updates and new content. You and your team investigate haunted locations using authentic paranormal investigation equipment like EMF readers, spirit boxes, and thermometers to identify specific ghost types. The game brilliantly uses voice recognition, where ghosts respond to your actual spoken questions through the microphone, creating incredibly immersive and personal horror moments. The variety of ghost behaviors and evidence combinations ensures that each investigation requires careful observation and teamwork, while the VR support option elevates the terror to another level for those brave enough. Number 8 brings us Dead Space Remake, which completely reconstructs the 2008 horror classic with cutting-edge visuals and enhanced gameplay systems. You play as engineer Isaac Clarke fighting through the Ishimura spaceship overrun by horrifying necromorphs that must be strategically dismembered to stop them. The remake adds new story content, improved zero-gravity sections, and a fully interconnected ship that you can explore without loading screens. The sound design deserves special mention for creating an incredibly oppressive atmosphere where every creak and distant scream keeps you constantly on edge throughout the experience. At number 9 sits Resident Evil Village, which continues Ethan Winter's story through a mysterious European village filled with werewolf-like creatures and powerful lords. The game blends classic survival horror with action elements while exploring diverse environments from gothic castles to twisted factories. Lady Dimitrescu and her daughters became iconic antagonists, but each lord offers unique and memorable encounters that test different skills. The Merchant Duke provides upgrade paths for your arsenal, while the crafting system encourages thorough exploration to maximize your combat effectiveness against increasingly dangerous foes. Number 10 features Silent Hill 2 Remake, which faithfully recreates the psychological horror masterpiece with modern technology while preserving what made the original so impactful. You follow James Sunderland through the fog-shrouded town, searching for his deceased wife after receiving a mysterious letter. Bluebird Team has enhanced the combat system to feel more responsive while maintaining the oppressive atmosphere and symbolic monster designs. The remake expands certain sequences and adds new puzzle variations while keeping the multiple endings and deeply emotional narrative intact for both newcomers and longtime fans. At number 11, we have Signalis, a survival horror game that combines retro aesthetics with cosmic horror storytelling in a dystopian sci-fi setting. You play as Elster, a technician replica, searching for her lost partner through increasingly surreal and nightmarish facilities. The fixed camera angles and limited inventory management pay homage to classic survival horror, while the mysterious narrative gradually reveals itself through environmental details and cryptic documents. The pixel art style creates surprisingly effective horror moments, while the soundtrack and sound design build an incredibly oppressive atmosphere throughout. Wrapping up at number 12 is Little Nightmares 2, a cinematic puzzle platformer that delivers horror through atmosphere and environmental storytelling rather than direct threats. You control Mono, exploring a twisted world of grotesque inhabitants and dangerous locations alongside Six from the first game. The game excels at making you feel small and vulnerable against the nightmarish adults and creatures you encounter. Each area presents unique horror themes from haunted schools to hospitals, while the chase sequences create intense moments of tension that require quick reflexes and environmental awareness.